Looking at the photos of this pretty smiling woman, it's hard to believe that it was she who was nicknamed the Buchenwald witch and that she was guilty of killing tens of thousands of people. Elsa Koch was born on September 22, 1906 in Dresden, in a working-class family. In 1932, the girl joined the NSDAP, and in 1934 she met Standartenführer Karl Otto Koch. 2 years later they got married. In 1936, Elsa, who now bore her husband's surname, began working as a secretary and at the same time as a guard at the Sachsenhausen concentration camp near Berlin, where Karl Koch got a job as a commandant. So their career began. In 1937, Karl Koch was appointed commandant of the Buchenwald camp. Here Elsa showed her sadistic tendencies for the first time. Walking around the camp, she could just hit any prisoner with a whip and even set her dog on him. But that's not the worst part. It was said that Elsa ordered the prisoners to be undressed and examine their bodies for tattoos. Tattooed concentration camp prisoners were given lethal injections. Then Frau Koch herself made various crafts from the skin of her victims: gloves, handbags, book bindings, tablecloths. The husband supported his wife in everything and was a participant in crimes. For example, both of them adored beating concentration camp prisoners. For violations of order in the concentration camp, prisoners were mutilated fingers and branded skin with a red-hot iron. In 1941, Ilse became the senior supervisor among the female guards. She often bragged about how she tortured prisoners, as well as souvenirs made of human skin, in front of colleagues. In the end, information about what the couple was doing reached the higher management. The family was arrested. They were tried in Kassel for excessive cruelty and moral corruption. But the couple managed to save themselves, saying that they were victims of a slip of the tongue from detractors. In September of the same year, Karl Koch was appointed commandant of the Majdanek camp, where the couple continued their sadistic activities. But in July of the following year, Karl was removed from office, accused of corruption. In 1943, the Koch couple were arrested by the SS for the murder of Dr. Walter Kramer and his assistant. The fact is that the doctors treated Karl Koch for syphilis and could have let it slip. In 1944, a trial was held. The couple was also accused of embezzlement and embezzlement of prisoners' property. In Nazi Germany, this was a serious crime. In April 1945, Karl was shot in Munich, shortly before American troops entered there. Elsa managed to escape punishment, and she went to her parents, who at that time lived in Ludwigsburg. However, on June 30, 1945, she was arrested again. This time it's the American military. In 1947, she was tried, but Elsa denied all charges, claiming that she was just a victim of the regime. She also did not recognize the fact of using human skin for crafts. But hundreds of surviving former prisoners testified against the Buchenwald witch. Koch was sentenced to life imprisonment for the atrocities and murders of prisoners. But a few years later, she was released at the request of General Lucius Clay, who served as the military commandant of the American occupation zone in Germany. He considered the accusations unproven. However, the public did not want to put up with the acquittal of Elsa Koch. In 1951, a West German court sentenced Elsa Koch to life imprisonment for the second time. She never expressed remorse for what she had done. On September 1, 1967, Elsa died. In 1971, her son Uwe, who grew up in an orphanage, whom she gave birth to in custody from a German soldier, tried to restore his mother's good name by appealing to the court and the press. But he didn't succeed.